Hello, everyone, and welcome to Plate Stack Chat. As always, my name is Jason, and I get on some great people to come and join me for a chat. And if you're here today because you thought one of those people would be Dallin Pepper, that has been rescheduled to Tuesday, but stick around anyway because I have some great guests on the show today. First up, we have an athlete that has been doing the CrossFit Open since 2014. She's been to regionals, semi-finals, competed in the last chance qualifiers, and of course at the CrossFit Games. This season, we also got to watch her take on the quarterfinal workouts live, going head-to-head with Lindsay Lane on the Savan podcast, and put on a great performance at Syndicate Crown, even if we didn't get the desired result. Please welcome the fantastic Fee Saghafi.
Oh, what's up, Jason? How you guys?
I'm very good, thank you. And I was a bit worried because our second guest disappeared, but then they came straight back. So
Perfect.
as it was going live. Perfect. So joining Fee and myself is another incredible athlete. Yes, she does CrossFit, and you can find her name on the open leaderboard as well, or you might see her throwing down at Whatappalooza. But if you really want to see something special, you need to check out the insane gymnastic skills she shows off on her Instagram or when competing in Grid League. Please welcome the lovely Paula Keyes.
Hi, Jason. How are you guys? Hi, Fee.
Hi.
I'm very good. I hit go live and it said like an error has occurred. Please try again. And I was like, oh no, that's never happened.
Oh no.
And then it went live. And as soon as it went live, Pao, you disappeared. And I was like,
Oh my goodness.
and then you came straight back. And as I was
11
doing
o'clock is
Fee's
not a lucky
intro,
time.
you came back in. So that was good.
Okay, maybe because I switched to the computer, so it made that.
There you go. That'll be what it is. Wad Zombie says Fee Saghafi is the absolute best.
Oh, you're the best, Watson.
He's the best.
You're the
Not
best.
my favorite. Fee.
No, you are. No, you are.
He's my favorite from all times. Like I
Yeah.
said it. I said it 1,000
Oh,
times.
wow.
Well, you follow each other on Instagram.
Yes, and we know
Yes.
each other. We have seen each other. a
Where
couple
did
of
we
times.
connected at? What was our first connection though?
It was that competition in Pembroke Pines. You went for Lycan, and I was in there.
Yep, exactly. Oh my gosh, you're right. We met
at a picture and everything.
That's exactly it. And you won.
Yeah, we won, but it was a local comp, like nothing like CrossFit
It's still winning.
or anything.
It's still good.
For fun.
Yes. We're sponsored by the same fitness equipment company, Lycan Fitness.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. So many connections.
And then we saw each other at Whatappalooza. We took a really nice picture. I have a nice picture of us.
Yes. You stay connected. The sport does that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is a very small world, like within the kind of CrossFit and just the fitness world in general, but particularly kind of the CrossFit space. You do seem to bump into the same people at events and things, and it's always amazing to find out who knows who and who like, oh yeah, I've known them for ages. But what I mean, now Paul, don't get offended by this because do you know what's funny is that actually when I first decided to relaunch this show, so I used to do this with two other guys, and then it disappeared for a while, and then I was doing my other videos and things like that, and I was like, I kind of miss the chat. I miss just talking to the athletes and different people in the space and sort of just getting to know them better. And Plate Stack Chat was the perfect name, but we'd used it already. So I asked them, like, can I bring it back? So like, yeah, no problem. And I made a list of some people that I just reached out to before, like, trying to launch it, because I was like, I better make sure I can get some guests. And Pao was one of the first. You were on that first list that I sent out to people saying, hey, would you be up for coming on? And then I was speaking to my wife the other day, and I was like, oh, I feel really bad because I asked her ages ago when I first did it, and I never got her on. And then Fee, I'd arranged to get you on, and Dallin was coming on at the same time, and then Dallin cancelled. So I was like, oh,
yep,
I need to find someone else. And then I saw that you followed each other on Instagram, and I was like, oh hold on,
cool.
Maybe.
This is
as soon as he asked me, like, hey, do you want to do a podcast with Fee? I'm like, yes. I mean, this is my first podcast ever. Like, I don't ever do this. It's not my comfort zone. I never speak in English like that, so it's like first time. But he told me you were gonna be there. We had talked about this before, and I agree absolutely. Jason is amazing, and he's one of the first person that really like start studying Grid League and our live streams since the beginning, and trying to understand the sport, like before saying anything or like nothing, he started like analyzing every race and seeing how it really works, so he could like talk about the sport, really like knowing what it really is. So we really appreciate that.
Oh, I love that. Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know I had that reputation.
That's good. You're on her nice. You're on her nice list now.
Oh,
because
good.
of all that.
Yeah, but they're all really great. I mean, that's what I love about grid. It's what I love about CrossFit in general as well. Is just, and it is the thing that I'm always afraid of. The more we talk about like professionalizing the sport and it becoming more professional, is the divide we get between like the athletes and people being able to speak to them. But I love being able to like, oh, I haven't understood what's happening here, and just reach out and like ask questions and get answers. And I remember doing a video. It's Eric, isn't it? Your teammate. I want to say Cardona. Is that correct?
Eric Cardona, yes.
Yeah, and I remember I was doing a video about some movements that have shown up in Grid League that was like, could these be things we might see at the CrossFit Games? And I just messaged him saying, can you, because I'd seen some like on his Instagram, but I just didn't have like the right video, if that made sense. And I just sent him a message saying, could you do this for me and send me a video of you doing this? And he just did it and sent it, and I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah,
what was it?
It was the like the roll to support,
the backward roll to support, the movement he wants to learn.
Oh yeah,
and I'm dying to teach her. I was like,
oh my gosh, that was one that for some reason we were like I never got to the point where I could do it without assistance. We were breaking it down, and this was like before the games, like where, you know, you're a month out before the games and they start to kind of like release, you know, certain hints of events. And then, you know, they were talking about it on CrossFit.com. You know, they were showing like, you know, some gymnastic skills, like all these things that start to come out, and you're like, okay, maybe that's something that might show up. And I was never brave enough to like fully go for it. And then like, you know, Dallin's going for it. James is just going for it.
Well, there's a video of Jason Hopper like falling. He's doing it and he falls off. So that was the other. So like that was kind of part of it. And also because Bars had been speaking, I think he'd done a kind of catch up video with Rory McKernan, and they were just kind of talking. And one of the things he had said about is like the rings just become kind of a muscle up machine, and like maybe that's all we use them for. And how, you know, we could use the rings in interesting ways. So then and that's kind of what I do, is like I take all the different information and sort of just put everything together, and I'm kind of like, well, here's all the stuff that, you know, I'm hearing that maybe.
Then people that doesn't know this, they see something different on the rings and they are like, oh, that's not even a muscle up. Oh, that's an overhead. Oh, and it's just a different technique or different movements you can do on the rings. It's not only to do like strict muscle ups, like you can do so many things, but people who doesn't really like get into really know what all this means, like all the hate on the internet is terrible.
It's terrible. And that's what like makes fitness so fun. It's like not black and white. And, you know, you watch the sport of gymnastics, they're doing so many, you know, you're taking your body through so many different shapes and movement. Like fitness in the gymnastics world, that's truly what it is. It's like seeing what your body could do and what positions can you put it in. And I think the internet trolls are like, if it's strict, you know, it's not strict, so it must be cheating.
I agree.
Well, the funny thing is, they should watch like Paul's videos, because like
yes, they need to watch more of Paul's.
Well, she puts everything up like as stories, so I find myself there like clicking through and then like grabbing my wife and be like, hold on, you've got to see this, and then 2 stories later being like, no, wait, sorry, you need to see this actually, because like
now she grab a med ball, or now she grab that.
Yeah. This was it. She was like, you'll do the kind of video of like, you know, you're doing like toes to bar, chest to bar kind of thing. And it's like, and that's where the trolls come out. I'm like, oh, it's not like no pull-ups for a company. This isn't strict.
Yeah.
And then the next video, she's doing like a strict L-sit pull-up with a med ball in between her legs. And then she did it weighted with a med ball.
That was pretty hard.
And then there's like a few stories later, and you're doing the most controlled freestanding handstand push-ups I've ever seen. Like it looks like there should have been a wall there and someone has removed the wall. And I told him, I was like, look how solid she is in this position.
Yeah.
Next slide. Oh, she's added a med ball as well, just to make it a little.
Oh, thank you. I'm blushing.
But
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's what we need to do to be able to perform fast and explosive on those movements. Like, you really need to learn first how to control it in a strict way and have the strength you need to then go compete and do it fast as we do it. Like, it's same in CrossFit and everything. Like, but people only see us competing and doing it fast, and they think that they cannot even do it strict. And I mean, we couldn't be able to do it that way if you don't have the base and the fundamentals on the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We know that. So of course, I don't let that hate touch me because I know how things really are. But sometimes it's annoying. My video of doing burpees, bar facing burpees, that every single morning I wake up to my phone having like 50 messages saying like, oh, belly slap, oh, she looks like a Pokemon, oh, they say whatever, like whatever. And I mean, oh, that's not even a push-up. And I'm like, you know how many strict push-ups do you have to do to perform burpees like that, and being that explosive and fast? It's like, it's been so much work that people just don't see.
Yeah. That's like our world, and it's one of those things that I think no matter how long you do a certain sport, like, or how long you like, or even how much you explain on your social media the purpose behind it, I think there's still always going to be people that find some reason to invalidate the amazing things that you do and that any athlete does. And that's just the world that we live in. But it's good to always just know the true work that you put in.
Yeah, I had some teen athletes on the show recently that have they're all from the UK. They've all qualified for the CrossFit Games, the pit team throwdown.
Nice.
And I was asking them, like, at school, what do the other students think? Like, do they know what you've done? Like, especially being in the UK, like, do they understand, you're going to America to compete in this? Like, what do they know? And universally, it was kind of, the only thing they know about CrossFit is like butterfly pull-ups, and that like we don't do real pull-ups.
Yeah.
That
sounds about right.
It's the worst thing. It is the one thing that I just kind of wish we'd never introduced, because the athletes are incredible. Like, the things they do are incredible, but every time someone posts a video of them doing like butterfly pull-ups, it's just the comments blow up, and you're just like,
but
this is
bad publicity. It's still publicity. So
I know, right?
Maybe not that many people would know about CrossFit if butterfly pull-ups wouldn't exist. So, I mean, I take it.
That's such a good point.
She's so full of positivity. Although, Fee, your training looks like it's shifted to more kind of bodybuilding these days. You're like, I saw that video.
What? I tweaked my neck about 2 weeks ago, just like on a lift. And it's one of those where you hit a lift and my neck just locked up. And so it's been lifting in a different way where I don't have to twist my neck or jerk my neck. So we've been doing a little bit more bodybuilding, and it's been fun. It's nice. It's actually not as fun as my typical training. My coach was saying, we were like, bodybuilding's so hard. Like, hard in a way where it's like you have to have, it's just hard to stay disciplined and slow, right? Where our sport, when it comes to performance and training, when we're doing a lot of our training, it's fast, it's intense, it hurts, it's hard. And it's funny, it's like to go slow is actually hard and annoying. And so every now and then, just like any athlete, we have a little tweak here and there, and training changes a little bit sometimes, but either way, we still get it in. I get to do just a little bit more accessory work. Hopefully get back to normal training.
Well, that's good, because that's always kind of the boring stuff that we skip anyway. So it's like, maybe it's good that you're being forced to do it.
But that is necessary.
I know.
What's your, so obviously if you've got a bit of an injury, then maybe that even, well, not an injury, but like, you're working around something at the moment, that might change things a bit. But like, so obviously we know the grid season is about to kick off. So Pal's about to get busy, but your season now, it's like the very nature of kind of the CrossFit season is you never know at what point like your journey ends in a season. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, this year, people that we would have assumed were, good chance of making it to the games didn't even make it through quarterfinals because of penalties. So like you've got all this fitness, you're ramping up because you're thinking, well, if I'm, if I make it to the games, I want to be at my peak. When you don't make it through the cut this year, like do you have a plan B? Is it like, okay, and if that's not happening, or even are you formulating a plan B of like, right, how can I, maximize the rest of this season of my fitness, or is it all about next season?
Yeah, 100%. Like I went into semifinals with like 100% confidence that I have the capacity to qualify. Just like in years past, it's just you don't always get the results you want, no matter how fit you do feel. Everyone else is getting fit too. But my plan, like I finished with the results of that weekend, and immediately it was like, okay, what's the next thing? Because my season's not over. But that's like not every athlete feels like that. You go through semifinals, and like mentally, this sport will chew you up and it'll spit you out as quickly as as you let it. And it's one of those things that you could have not the results that you want from that season, and just mentally you're exhausted and you're frustrated and you're sad, and maybe you're fighting some doubts that maybe this isn't for you, kind of doubts. And a lot of athletes take the rest of the season off to figure out what they truly want to do, or how they want to kind of reprogram the mental side of themselves. And sometimes it's not just a week off from the gym, it's maybe like taking the rest of the season off, the month, the 2 months, and then you maybe you jump back into it in the fall. For me, I was pretty like, I wasn't as much sad as I was frustrated and disappointed, and but then probably it took me about 48 hours to just be like, okay, when's the next thing? Like, I'm not about to train as hard as I do to like not prepare for the next thing. So I'm going to be competing at NorCal Classic in September. And then I'm going to be doing the Crash Crucible in October. Nice. And of course, I'm doing the Rogue Invitational at the end of August. Hopefully we can make it back. I've done it 2 years. So yeah, so for me, it's just like, I love the process of this sport more than I do the end result, because most of the time I actually don't get it right. That's just the reality of my chapter as an athlete. Most of the time I don't get it right, but I love the process, and it just makes it fun. Your ups and downs make it fun. So
I wonder if, because I feel like you're quite a fan favorite. Like you're one of those athletes that seems to resonate with people a lot. And I wonder if that's...
I'm her fan.
We've got your number one fan on the show.
Yes, she is. Yes,
no, I can talk as a fan once you finish asking the question.
Yeah. Well, I kind of wonder if that, if, like, obviously you want to win. You want to qualify for the games. You've done it in the past. You can do it. This year was crazy because every semi-final you were like, wow, I can't believe, 2 or 3 people that you'd be like, wow, I can't believe they didn't make it. Like, we've got a lot of rookies. We've got a lot of people that are familiar faces that are not going back. Like, it's an interesting season in that respect. But I think you're right. If somebody's so driven, it's like, it's all or nothing. I've got to win it. And then when they don't, they kind of disappear for a bit and we don't see them, or they don't seem to be enjoying the journey. It's all about that, end result, which is, maybe what you need to be like a Tia or someone like that. But I think people like you because they kind of see this fun side of you, and that you're enjoying the process and you're enjoying all of the things. So I do wonder if maybe that's why.
That's actually the first conversation we had. We were talking about that I told her she was my favorite because, like, she's always smiling, and in a way that you can tell she enjoys what she's doing. Like, she really likes it and enjoys it, and she's having a great time. Even she gets or not the results she wants. Like, even though for me, we always do amazing, but you can tell when an athlete like is really enjoying what they're doing, and you can tell in Fee, and she has that smile that is like, oh, I like this girl, like, like
Thank you, Pao.
of course. And then it's funny what you said about like moving into the next thing and going to the next, because I posted a phrase yesterday that says like, you don't fail. It's not over when you fail. It's over when you stop trying.
Mm-hmm.
So it really works, I think, for everything in your life. Sometimes we're gonna get the results we want, sometimes not. In competition, maybe you're trying to open your own business, and some stuff at the beginning is gonna be hard, and you feel like it's not working. But then you gotta start keep trying and redirection it, and like it's over when you stop trying. And I feel like you're gonna move into these next competitions now to like stay on track, and for sure you're gonna make it next year. And with that mental toughness and everything.
That's so special, Pao, and like, that resonates, and I think that's why, I stayed in this sport for as long as I have. Right? I've only I've physically competed at the games twice. I've only qualified 3 times, and there's girls that've been qualifying. It's their 10th year, it's their 7th consecutive, it's their 6th time on the podium, or you know what I mean. And some girls, sometimes that happens, and then for some reason, I the majority of the years I don't qualify, but the very few that I do or that I have, it makes the moments that I haven't qualified that more special. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of crazy. It's when you achieve anything, great in your life, in sport, work, as a wife, or husband even. When you get something right, you think of all the moments that you didn't get it right, and you're so proud that you stuck with it. You never have this great moment and you just think of all the other great moments. You kind of think of all the other moments that you just stuck out, and that's what makes great moments really special. So I've never thought that my season's ever over when I don't qualify to the games, or maybe you don't win a competition, or you don't do what you want with your grid league team. You just pivot, and I feel like life is just about like pivoting, right? Redirecting.
Yeah,
And there's never an end to it.
Yeah, this is all very encouraging for me because tomorrow I'm going on CrossFit Jeopardy, Chase Ingram's show.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's going to be a disaster because that's not what I'm good at all. So I told him, like, I'm happy to come on and lose, but don't expect anything special from me.
Just have fun with that one.
So yeah, I mean, this is encouraging to hear. Kind of,
you
I do
have a pep talk.
yeah,
That's
pass
right.
pep talk. Fee, I do have a question. What are your thoughts about, like, so you were saying about the Rogue Invitational?
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to Scotland in November or whenever it is? That
Never. I've only been to Europe once, and that was for a competition that I did years ago in 2019, Italian Showdown. But I've
Right.
never been across seas other than that one weekend in Italy, and I would love to qualify.
Do a lot of ice baths before going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you're
It's really cold,
prepping yourself.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, so we do get like almost, I would say, what, like over 6 months of cold technically, but we don't get freezing cold like
Yeah.
for 6 months. But well, I would say from like November, December until March, maybe sometimes a little bit of April, it's just cold. It's cold, cold, as cold as at least we've gotten it in the negatives here. We've gotten, frozen storms and all of it. So I'm not I'm not too scared.
Yeah,
But now
I
that I
just
live in Florida, maybe I'm not as resilient.
No, here
exactly.
is so hot.
Yes, Florida's so hot right now.
I feel like athletes are having to make a choice of, like, oh, do I acclimatize myself to the heat because maybe I'm going to go to the games and that's going to be incredibly hot, or should I start preparing for the cold because I'm going to be going to Rogue and that's going to be freezing? So
It'd be different if we'd be doing events outside in the cold.
Yeah.
Like if we're physically doing, God knows what on
an open
on
water
a
swim.
mountain. Yeah, right? Like yes. That'd be different. But I feel like if you go from hot, or you can't acclimate to heat as quickly and as easily, but you could always go from hot to cold, then it just feels nice. Then you have, your body's very comfortable in that weather.
Yeah, I don't know, because I was asking, I had an athlete on from the Philippines that went to Korea for the Asian semifinals, and they were saying, like, they felt cold. They said, like, it felt really cold, like going from these very, very hot kind of tropical humid climate to you know, it was much cooler in Korea. I was actually, when they were saying how cold it was, I was like, sounds pretty warm to me. But
I remember I was doing this. I mean, when I did semifinals the entire weekend, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so nice in here. You have AC. It feels good. Like, I don't feel like I'm heating up. And I mean, right now, Pao and I are in Florida. It's like 95 degrees, humid. Everything that we do is in like humidity. It feels like it's over 100 degrees. And
I do the warm up and I'm already like dripping sweat, and I'm just like, I'm still warming up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, we've just had a few days of sunshine in England, and everybody's losing their mind because like,
everyone in shorts and
it's so hot. It's so hot. We can't believe how hot and it was really hot, but like for us, really hot. And then
I was wearing a sweatshirt and leggings, and I took a story picture, and someone was like, "Fee, it is just too hot for that weather." And I think it was like 70 degrees. Like cool breeze. Yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway, and my kids, they did like they had the sports day today at the school, and it's like so many of them were even wearing like trousers, like, you know, like jogging trousers and jumpers and stuff. I was like, guys, this is how can you do sport and dress like that? And it's actually a rare day of sunshine in England. This is madness. Okay, well, that's good. Fee, I know that you had a hard out that you needed to jump off at. So like, if you need to leave, just
yes, I got about 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay.
I know it's my day over here.
What do you want to ask your favorite athlete? Well, she's got 10 minutes.
What I would like to ask. No, I mean, what we were talking about, like what she said, that she really enjoys it, so she doesn't feel like the season is over just because she didn't qualify to the games. I feel that that's really important, because I do know that some athletes, it affects them a little bit more, because they are not building like an everything around. It's just that. So then they find themselves a little bit lost. Like, what do I do now? Like, this is like they put everything, all they're on the same thing. So I feel it's great to be able to redirect and move into the next thing and take it like that, like as learning. And but of course, we all wanted to see you this year. I was sad. I was really sad.
To your point, though, it's good to know that, like, you're a good example of that too. Like, you're not just an athlete, you're a coach. You put out programming that, you know, influences other people to challenge themselves and makes their fitness.
Oh, we lost her.
We lost Fee. She disappeared.
No.
Who knows what? I want to know what you make people do, because she said you put out content that makes them, and then it cut out.
Oh.
So what is it that
maybe
you make
that makes them want to learn or go work out? Yes, like
you said you're coaching later today, right?
Yes, I have my personal training groups. I train from tennis athletes to regular people that wants to work out. I love coaching, and I love coaching in person. A lot of times they told me, like, hey, with all the followers you have, why don't you just focus on online coaching? And I'm like, I love being like with people and being able to like share my energy, give them that like motivation they need on the moment, like on the moment to start the warm up and put everything together. I kind of build a community here. So right now I'm coaching. I have everything at home. I have a big garage, and I have everything here. But the idea for next year, or maybe this year, is to expand and have my own space for personal training. So,
what kind of, so like the training and the coaching you're doing, is it similar to the kind of stuff we see you doing, or is it very different?
No, I kind of like, I study physical education in Argentina. So I did my Hi, Fee.
I'm back. Oh, you called me. My mom called me.
Oh,
and I thought I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, which usually calls don't come in. And my mom called me, and my video went out, and I was like talking. I'm like, oh my gosh, they probably can't even hear what I'm saying right now.
No, we lost you.
And I text my mom. I'm like, Mom, don't call me. I'm busy. My mommy. Oh my god!
Make sure she doesn't see this, because if she finds out this is why you're busy, she'll be like, "Oh, busy." You're just
I told her, I was like,
random guy. Because we were intrigued because you were saying, Paula, like you put out this stuff, you coach people, you really inspire them, you get them to, and then it
Yes.
cut out, and we didn't hear what you get them to, what she gets them to do.
And then what I want to end with is that you have more of a purpose than just being one thing, right? Just being an athlete. And I think people struggle in general. They struggle a lot when they put all of their marbles into one basket, and when that one result that they hopefully wanted, they don't get it. Their purpose is in that one thing, and then they're lost, and they feel like they failed as a human being. And I think that's like that. I think that's the biggest takeaway this last, even these last years. There's been a lot of athletes that step away from their sport. There's a lot of athletes that completely had burnt out and never want to return to their sport, and it's because they've poured so much into one thing that it's stripped them from like truly knowing where their heart is and who they are as human beings. And I think like us doing what we do, we enjoy what we do, not because we always get it right, but because we're filled with more purpose than just winning or just making it to the games or the podium or whatever it is.
Yeah, and for example, I started studying physical education before even knowing about CrossFit. CrossFit wasn't even in Argentina still. So I always knew like I like to coach, to train people, to like improve their quality of life. I feel like the sport and physical activity does that. So yes, then I started CrossFit, and yes, I started coaching that. But now he asked me, what do I coach in my clients? And I kind of coach functional training. Like I grab the best things of CrossFit, like the community-wise, and then of gymnastics and what I learned doing my physical education career. That I did my specialty in high-performance training. So I kind of grabbed a little bit of everything, and I made my own programming, and that's what I coach. And it really gives results. Like people are happy. I'm loving it. I love to coach that. I really want to expand my place and like put my own space and keep it growing. But yes, and then yes, I love competing, but for me it's more like a hobby. I don't do it like professional wise. I would have, but I've always felt like I don't have what it needs, like physically and maybe mentally too, like to leave everything on. I feel like you have to leave a lot on the side, like to dedicate to that. And since I love coaching and building my business so much, it's more that for me than training. And then, my training is more on the side right now. Even though I post more, like maybe it looks like all I do is training, and
I
people
mean,
think that
I'll be honest, pal.
You're
when you
still
said
very
that,
fit.
yeah, when you're like,
training
my
now.
training's just kind of on the side, and I'm like,
Yeah.
don't tell
No,
me
I
your
mean,
training's on the side.
I train up to 2 hours a day. I'm not training that much, but when I train, like I really put all my effort into it. Like I really give everything I got in that hour or two that I'm training.
But sometimes that's the best thing to do. I had Ariel Owen on, and she was saying like for her, even coming up to like the games, she's not spending more time training. She's building the intensity within that window that she's got, but she's kind of like, I'm a mum and I've got stuff to go, and like that's the window I've got to train. That's Ariel Owen, yeah. Well, there you go.
I wish.
Fee, are you coaching as well these days?
Actually, I ended up getting my CrossFit L2, and I used to coach at CrossFit Mentality, owned by Scott Panchik and Kristen Panchik for years, up until I moved to Florida full time. I moved to Florida. I went from Cleveland, Ohio to Naples, Florida last year, and that's when I stopped coaching, and I truly just dedicated myself as an athlete full time. But I love coaching. I love working with people. I love like going and being part of someone else's journey and someone else's success. And I think that to me is way more fulfilling than, finding success my own way is nice. I'm very proud of it, but I think there's something special on gifting someone else the ability for them to pursue something that they've struggled with and the impact is far greater than just their fitness. And I know, Pao, you feel the same with your clients. and I think that impact extends far beyond, you know, the gym walls. That kind of impact changes people's lives, and I've been loving it. And I think, well, now I'm involving myself in more coaching now, since actually as of like a little bit of last year, I started to just host movement clinics and started to like get back into the affiliate. So I kind of took this invitation that started from an CrossFit Reaching Greatness around the Weston, Florida area, close to Miami. And they're like, Fee, how can we get you to come to our affiliate and just lead a class? And that's kind of how it started. And then I gave them the idea, is like, how about I come and I coach movement that most people are struggling with. And it's like movements that I wish I had more coaching of when I first started. So it was like your toes to bar, your pull-ups. How do I get my first pull-up? How do I get my butterflies? How do I, you know, the basics. And then we did like a little community class WOD, and it was just me leading and me connecting with the community. And it just kind of brought me back to like what I really love, and it's working with people. And I've been building on that, and I've been able to do some clinics around the area. I've been able to do my event like in 4 different affiliates, and I'm super excited. I'm actually heading, I've been invited to some competitions in Latin America to, they're inviting me on as a guest athlete, and there throughout the weekend I'll be doing movement clinics and coaching and seminars. So I'm kind of finding my way back, and it's just so fun. Like competing is so fun, but finding any chance to connect with people in the community is just that much
it's
more
amazing. And it's
Yes.
great that you love it. And I think that has a huge part to be on that okay, you didn't qualify, but you redirect, and you have other things you like. But I know it happens to some athletes that they dedicate all their life or their time just to train and compete, and then something goes wrong, or an injury, or they don't qualify anymore, or they burn out or something, and they find themselves that they haven't done anything besides that. And some of them start coaching, but they don't actually like love it, or
Yes. And you could tell the
and they
people that
ended up being just class leaders. There's
Mhm.
a huge difference being a class leader and being a coach. A class leader can explain the workout to you, show the movement, 3, 2, 1, go, and that's it. That's all they do. And those are the kind of people that get a little bit more lost when something don't go their way. So it would be like maybe an advice for some people or athletes that are starting first, like figure out what else like you like doing, and don't put everything maybe on the same.
Yes. And the reality is too is like, just because you're an athlete in the space doesn't mean you should also equally enjoy working with people. Like there's certain athletes that they just want to be in this moment. All they want to do is, be an athlete and dedicate themselves to the sport. But I think, you don't have to be this person that is like all about community and all about this, and if it's not you, it's not you, right? But I think also it's more like just find the thing outside of this one sport that you do love, and do more of the things that you do love, like whatever that looks like. Some people, they take on, it's awesome to see athletes. Mal's a great example. Like, I feel like I've learned so much about her just following her along. She's posting about baking and cooking, and she loves sharks, and she loves exploring, and she loves all these things. And I think that's such an example. Like, there's so much out there that I think people don't even realize that they love. And find the things that you truly love, that even if you weren't paid to do it, you'd still do it because you just love it. And more people doing that, I think, will bring a lot more peace when it comes to the result of sport when you don't get what you want.
Well, it's interesting because like on here, like, that was sort of the purpose of this show. It's not a straight interview. It's not a, how do you train? How are you preparing for this? It's more just like, how's life? What are you doing? What's fun? And it's interesting to see who can quite easily talk about other things and be like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I enjoy this and these are my hobbies. And who it's like, oh, aren't you going to ask me, how I meal prep? Aren't you going to ask me, how I train? And it's like, oh, so that's, but what's interesting is like for you, you've got like that CrossFit pie, right? And the competing is a slice, but you like coaching and you like the community and you've been involved in that for a long time. So you've got and you've been with people that have been involved in that in a long time, you know, like Scott Panchik, ones like that. And then you've got other people where it's like the CrossFit pie for them is it's just competing, and it's like that's sort of all they know. And you're right. So either they need something else, and it's like, okay, so when you're not competing or when competition doesn't go the way you hope, you know, what's the other piece? What are you falling back on? Whereas for you, it's like, oh, I can still be in CrossFit doing stuff within CrossFit, but it's just I'm pivoting to, I'm focusing on seminars, I'm focusing on coaching, I'm doing other bits at the moment, and I'll, you know, sprinkle in some pretty high level competitions as well around there.
They dedicate so much time to training that they don't dedicate part of their lives to really connect with themselves. Like who am I? Who am I beside this sport? Who am I besides competing? Who am I besides training? You know, like I feel like everyone should take their time to know each other and know like who you are beside your results, beside what you do. You know, we are not only what we do or how we perform on, you know, we are so much more than that. But some people never get to actually like know themselves. And I feel like that's really, really important. And the other thing is like it happens to me sometimes when I meet people that we don't really know each other, but all they talk to me about is like training or this and that and nutrition. And I'm like, sometimes I don't want to talk about that. I have so much more than that, and you can talk to me about so many other stuff, but they feel like you are just that. So that's like the only thing they talk about to you. And I'm like, wait, like sometimes.
Yep.
I think they
Like,
just
imagine
see you,
going to
Pal,
work
and their
for 8
brain
hours.
switches off.
No.
I think they see you and they're like, obviously, you know, you're like incredibly fit and like amazingly talented in all of this. So they're like, yeah, let's talk about that. That's all I know. Like they can't bring anything else
if
in.
we are talking about that, yes, but I mean, with sometimes with people like you are on a party, you know, on a meeting somewhere outside the sport. You know what I'm saying? Like not right now or at the gym. Like you're in a place that has nothing to do with anything like sports wise, and sometimes
I was telling this to someone. I'm like, imagine going to work. You know, you work tax season. You're an accountant, for example, and you just go to work for 12 hours, and you step into your house completely outside of the office, and the first question you get is about work, and you're just like, oh my god, they're asking you about numbers and taxes and all this thing, and you're just like, that is the last thing I ever want to talk. It's like the same thing with athletes. Work stays at work, and when you get home or you're at a party or you want to do something else, like you don't want to always talk about work.
Yeah, it's like that. There is that thing, isn't there, about like at parties and sort of if someone's like, oh, you know, like what shouldn't you say to people at a party? And it's like if someone says, I'm a doctor, like you don't ask, oh, by the way, I've got this weird thing on my back. Could you tell me what that is? Like it's just like, hold on, this is down. So like let's talk about something else. So Pal, what's some things that you would if we were to bump into you at a party and we had to, you know, strike up a conversation,
depending on what kind of party, but you know, like for example, I have some passions that I love deep house music,
right?
It's a huge part of my life. I don't know that many people know this, but I've been listening to electronic music since I'm 16 years old. And I've been through different genres of the music, and I found my love with deep house. I follow my DJs, my artists like that I love. I have my favorite DJ, Nora Impure, that I've seen her live for like.
You go to the music festivals.
Yeah, but not the big festivals. Sometimes I just find out where my favorite DJs play, and sometimes it's just small spaces, and I go see them live. Not only like huge festivals like Ultra or EDC. Yeah, I might go one day, but I do go to small places to see the artists that I like. So that's a huge part, and I really want to learn how to mix. So once I finish with now I'm extremely busy with what I guys told you that I'm about to expand my business. So that's a lot, but once everything is working, like I do really wanna learn how to mix and play some deep house. I really connect with music that way, especially like when doing my gymnastics. I just put that music and it kind of like connects me with my body. Like what you say about the strict handstand push-ups, that they were like the most controlled you see and stuff. Before doing that, I really, really need to clear my mind and connect with my body to find the perfect like balance to like stay that way. It's like so complicated, and music really helped me out with that and with everything. So that's a huge part of my life, and I don't talk about that really often.
Wow.
Because
So
when
we'll be
I say electronic music, people just say like, "Oh, drugs," or like, crazy people. And no, for me, it's so different. It's just like it helps me get through the day, like do my activities, my work. It makes me focus. I put it on my car and I relax, and I like it. It's really
What's interesting is probably when they see all the fitness stuff, they go, "Oh, drugs! Like you're clearly on something, you're enhancing yourself." And then as soon as you talk about the music, they're like, "Oh, different kind of drugs." You just you see like everyone just wants to throw drugs at you. That's the
Anytime you're
problem.
successful or having fun, it must be drugs.
Mhm.
Because everyone's But
Yeah.
I hate cutting the chat short.
Fee's
But it's
gotta
been
go.
so nice chatting with you guys, Paulina. So awesome seeing you. Hopefully, I get to see you soon.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I get to see you soon as well, Jason. Thank you
Well,
so
if you make it to Rogue, then I'll see you at Rogue.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
I'm
that's great.
working at it.
So,
I hope to see you in Scotland.
Which month is it?
November.
it's
Mid-November.
November, yeah. Let me check my flight.
If Ridley is done, maybe I could like get a flight there and see.
Yes.
That would be so much fun.
Make a trip.
The good thing is that the airport is so close to the venue, and like the hotels are really close as well. So it is, just pull it up on my calendar, October. It's like the 8th, 9th, and 10th of November.
Oh, okay. First week.
Yeah, or 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the Thursday, I think. So.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, maybe I'll see you in Scotland.
Okay, we'll see you there then, Fee.
Thank
you
you
so much for
guys.
coming on.
Ciao,
And
Bye. Okay, Jason,
Okay.
thank you for having me.
That's okay. But before you shoot off, because I know you also have to go and coach, grid season's kicking off like next
Not this weekend, but the next one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're competing that week?
Yes, in Orlando.
Yeah. Who are you going up against?
The Palms.
Palms. Oh,
Yes.
Okay. You're still on the same team, right? You haven't jumped
Yeah,
ship.
on the Lions. Yes.
Still
yes.
on the Lions.
I only changed teams. I was with the Freaks, but I changed team because the Freaks weren't a team anymore.
They disbanded, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I changed teams, but it's not me like jumping into different teams.
Okay.
I love the Lions, and I would stay.
Yeah, because I see there's been some. I've seen there's been some shifting around of players and stuff into different teams.
No, I
kind of observing.
I made a joke about that with the Sharks.
Oh, no.
thought, and I talked to Sammy, and I was like, hey, let's make a joke that me moving into the Sharks. And some people believed it, and they thought it was true. We were just messing around. Messing around. I wouldn't change my team for nothing. No. I love the Lions. I love everything about the team. I'm really happy with it.
Well,
but yes.
I will be checking that out on the live stream. And
so this match is a really, really heavy match. So it doesn't really have that much stuff for me. I'm actually not even starting. I'm gonna get in the match for the last 3 races. I'm just doing Jack and Jill, that is the gymnastic race. I'm doing triad, that this year is gonna be really hard, and they have some surprises you're gonna see. And I'm doing a sprint relay. Right. But so all the first part of the match, I'm out. It's a really, really heavy match. You're gonna see heavy back squats. You're gonna see heavy thrusters. It has a heavy prowler push, prowler pull. It has sandbags over a wall. It's like, yeah.
I've seen a lot of training. I've seen a lot of people training in weight vests.
Yes.
I've seen doing like the rope climbing thing.
Triad. Yeah, this year triad is with a vest and heavy rope.
Yeah, I've seen the skipping with the
burpee, box jump over, synchronized this time. Then
and I heard a rumor that there's like is there a new gymnastics movement? Is there something new on the rings?
Is something on the rings, but Eric is gonna do it.
Yeah, is it top secret? Are we not allowed to know what it is?
I think, no, I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't feel
How confident are you to say that?
no, it's not a problem. They haven't been posting about it because, as you said, like I mean, they have been doing different techniques. All the specialists.
Oh, that's what I heard. Yeah, I heard
So
that something's new coming, but people have
and
been
they
doing
don't
it in different
wanna,
ways.
they don't wanna share their video because they don't want the others to see which technique they are doing, because there are 3 different ways to get to the movement, but basically it's like a handstand on the rings, but you start from a muscle up.
Okay.
So it's a ring to handstand, and then you reset. It's not a handstand push-up. It's like a ring to handstand. So some people would do a backup rise into handstand. Some people would butterfly and then go into the handstand. Some people would do a regular muscle up, or some people would just swing and get into a handstand from the swing, which I feel is really dangerous, but some of our athletes do it. So
the starting position is at the top of a muscle up, like locked out, or at the bottom in a dead hang?
On a dead hang.
So dead hang. So your position is dead hang to basically being completely upright on the rig. So so you could just swing up like that, or as you said, like kipping it up. And okay, this will be interesting.
Some people do a muscle up and then they kick. Some people do a backup rise into the handstand, and some people might just swing into a handstand. That it's really scary, and because it's a huge swing. And imagine like you're flipping and you gotta put your feet around the straps in order to support. So if you miss, and you cannot see, like you have to and if you miss the strap, like it's
yeah. Or even if you catch the strap, but you just catch it in the wrong place, that could be a problem. Like that could
be a problem too. So it's gonna be really interesting.
Do you know, is it just the guys trying it, or do you know of some?
I don't think there's any girl doing it. I can do it. I have been practicing just in case to be a backup for Eric. I never like leaving everything to only one player, because if anything happens, like imagine the backward roll to support. It happened to us in the finals that Eric couldn't make it to the match, and I had to jump in for him. If I would have been like, oh, never mind, Eric is gonna do it, then we wouldn't have any other player to perform. So I always like to learn the movements, even though I know I'm not gonna do it, because of course he was a gymnast and he controls the rings way better than me. Like most of the things I know, I learned from him. Like he's the one that taught me the backward roll to support. Like he's the one helping me with that. He's really the master of that. So he probably it's just guys doing them, because the gymnastics, like the rings, it's only a discipline for guys.
Guys, that's true. Yeah.
There's no girls doing rings.
So are they going to bring out the balance beam for the girls? Because that's.
I mean, no. I feel like it's time for the gymnastics to evolve, and because it's not a discipline for women, because they said that girls aren't like strong enough to dominate the rings. I feel like that changed already, since like we have shown that we can. And actually, there's so many guys asking us to teach them how to perform some ring movements. So I hope someday that the gymnastics like evolve and
like Olympic level gymnastics.
For ring for women. I think it could be time, but I don't know.
Okay, well, watch this space. Yeah, it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see, because you're right. Like, just even people like yourself that are not, gymnastic. Like that's not your. That's not your background. That's not what you've been. You haven't been training doing that since you were,
No, I learned a
tiny girl, and
I was like 20 years old.
Yeah. So when you think of like how good those those ones that get in early and just focus on that are in the other kind of aspects, it would be really interesting to see what they what could they accomplish 10-15 years later on the rings, if that's what they've been training for all that time since they're little. But, who knows? We'll write an email to the Olympic Committee and see if
I'm like, who could we like talk to propose this? But yes.
Is that movement going to show up week 1, or is that going to be something coming out later, do you reckon?
No, it's on this first match.
It's on this first match.
Actually, it's in 2 races. It's in
2
Echo,
races.
so you're gonna see it twice on Echo, and then it's in a sprint relay as well. So it's 3 times that they're doing that movement.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a huge difference between the teams who has someone really how do you say, like not good at it, but yes,
Yeah, like proficient in doing it.
Yeah, really proficient. Thank you. At that movement, and who struggles a little bit more. But my bet is like this year is gonna be only guys doing it.
Yeah.
I can do it, but it's half of the speed as Eric, so not worth it at all.
But that might be faster than someone on one of the other teams.
Oh, probably. Probably, yeah. I'm confident, but of course, if you have Eric on your team, it's like having Leo Messi. Like let the guy kick. Like just give him the ball and let him kick, and everyone understands its place on the team.
But if it's showing up in 3 races, it might be that he does it the first 2 times, and then he's like, "Look, Paula, you got this. Just you do the last one. Let's just show them."
Well, yeah. I mean, if we would be winning for a lot of points, yeah, you can maybe play it out, but we really need to get
the win first. Make sure they don't have a bonus flag or anything ready.
With the movement besides competition, but yes, I learned it. I learned how to do it. He taught me how to do it, and just in case anything happens, but I'm confident everything's gonna work out just fine.
Nice.
It's gonna be okay.
Well, I look forward to that, but I know you've got to go and do your coaching. I've probably got to get on you. I've got to get on your coaching. That's you got to teach me how to do all these skills. Brilliant, but well done, first ever podcast.
Okay, yeah.
but not the last. But not the last. We'll definitely get you back on. I have to get you on with some of the other grid people when the season kicks off proper.
Oh yeah, that would be
have a catch up after the match and find out.
Eric for sure, he would be down.
Well, you remember when I sent you a message very early on saying, would you ever be up for coming on this show? I sent Eric one as well, and he said, of course. And it didn't happen. But I managed to have, I had Briley on, I had Kaylee on, I had you on. So, I'm trying to like do the balance between CrossFit, grid, other sort of sports as well. We all use plates. We all use weight plates. Anyway, thank you. Have a lovely evening coaching. Thank you to people that were watching, that are watching. I will be back on Tuesday with Dallin and another guest that is to be announced. That will be an hour and a half earlier than we started today. So whatever time it was for you, where you live an hour and a half ago, like that's sort of when we'll be going. And if you really want to laugh, tomorrow I will be on CrossFit Jeopardy with Get With The Programming, pretending like I know anything about CrossFit, like facts and the L1 and stuff like that, which I don't. Then next weekend I will be at Strength in Depth for UK Champs on Friday to Sunday, so there'll probably just be the one show on the Tuesday. But if you happen to be in the UK and you're in Birmingham for the like British weightlifting or for the UK Champs CrossFit competition, I'll be there. Come and say hello. So thank you again, Pal. Thank you everybody for watching, listening, and I'll see you all hopefully next week, maybe.